Atlanta just launched a $5 billion mega project to transform downtown, and nearly $2 billion of that is public money. But here's the kicker. Locals are asking if this is really for the city, or just another sweetheart deal for developers. Yup, that's what we're diving into today. All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, boldest, and most controversial developments going down in the heart of Atlanta right now. Centennial Yards. Now, on the surface, it looks like your classic glitzy urban makeover. Think shiny new hotels, glassy office towers, trendy apartments, a splash of retail, and a sprinkle of entertainment hotspots. You know, the kind of place where you'd expect to see rooftop lounges with overpriced cocktails and joggers with those tiny dogs. But dig a little deeper, and yeah, things get a bit messier. Centennial Yards is more than just another real estate hype machine. This thing is a $5 billion mega project aiming to completely transform an area known as the Gulch. And if you've never heard of the Gulch before, don't worry, you're not alone. It's basically a 50-acre stretch of sad-looking parking lots and dusty old rail lines smack dab in the middle of downtown Atlanta. A spot that used to be the city's railway heartbeat, but has since become, well, a dead zone. Empty. Forgotten. The kind of place you avoid walking through unless you have a specific reason, or you're in a post-apocalyptic movie. So the idea is, let's bring it back to life. Sounds good, right? I mean, who wouldn't want to turn a barren, concrete wasteland into a buzzing hub of housing, jobs, and entertainment? The promise is big. Reconnect the fractured downtown, boost the economy, give the city a facelift just in time for the 2026 FIFA World Cup. No coincidence there. And finally give Atlanta the kind of downtown it actually deserves. But here's where people start side-eyeing the whole thing. Because behind that billion-dollar smile is a complicated story of public funding, developer deals, and some real questions about who this transformation is actually for. Let's start with the numbers. The project is projected to cover over 8 million square feet of new development. That includes 2.8 million square feet of housing, 4 million for offices, shops, and restaurants, and around 900,000 square feet for retail, basically an entire mini-city. Add on 1.7 million square feet of hospitality. That's hotels and entertainment spaces. And boom! You've got yourself a tourist magnet. And sure, there's a lot to like here. They're adding thousands of new apartments, a new entertainment district, and even this high-tech, immersive sports experience thing called KM, which people are hyping up nationwide. Sounds like a win, right? But here's the catch, and it's a big one. Nearly $2 billion of that funding? It's coming from public subsidies. Yup. Taxpayer money. Your money, if you live in Atlanta. And that's what has a lot of people raising their eyebrows and asking, wait a minute, who's really benefiting from this? See, in exchange for that mountain of public money, the developers, led by a company out of Los Angeles called CIM Group, were supposed to include affordable housing as part of the deal. Specifically, 20% of the units were meant to be reserved for folks making 80% or less of the area's median income. Which, if you live in Atlanta, is a pretty big deal. Rents are up, the cost of living keeps climbing, and affordable housing? It's becoming something of an urban legend. But instead of actually building those units, the developer opted for what's known as an in-lieu fee. That's basically when a developer says, hey, we know we were supposed to include affordable housing, but how about we just cut you a check instead? In this case, they paid around $8 million, roughly $132,000 per unit, to avoid putting 61 affordable units in one of their shiny new towers. Now, you might be thinking, okay, maybe that money went toward other affordable housing projects, right? And you'd be right. Kind of. The city did use most of that money to create its very first affordable housing trust fund, which, credit where it's due, is a solid move. But here's the issue. That fee, it was based on numbers from 2017. And in case you hadn't noticed, construction costs have absolutely skyrocketed since then. So that $132,000 per unit? It's actually way less than what it costs to build even a modest affordable apartment today. According to experts, the true cost now would be somewhere north of $400,000 per unit. So yeah, the city took a deal that probably shortchanged them by millions. And in a $5 billion project, that's not small change, but it's barely a rounding error for the developers. And this leads us to the bigger picture. Was it worth it? Is this massive investment really serving the people of Atlanta? Or is it just another case of big promises, shiny buildings, and not enough follow-through where it matters most? Let's not forget, this isn't just some private development. This is a public-private partnership, which means the city is putting its skin in the game. That $1.9 billion in subsidies includes things like a 20-year property tax exemption and letting the developers keep certain sales taxes for 3 decades. That's money the city won't be collecting. And while the idea is that this will pay off in the long run, by boosting tourism, creating jobs, and revitalizing the area, it's still a gamble. Because when you commit that kind of money, you're also saying no to other things, like more aggressive investment in affordable housing across other neighborhoods, or improving public transit, or investing in schools, infrastructure, parks, you name it. And with the developer sidestepping some of their affordable housing commitments, it's fair to ask, are we investing in community needs or just developer dreams? Now, to be fair, not everything is doom and gloom. There are benefits on the horizon. For one, this project is expected to generate major tax revenue eventually, once all those tax breaks expire. It's also creating thousands of construction and service jobs, and could bring a new energy to a part of the city that's felt dead for decades. And sure, they're planning to add 6,000 new parking spaces to help offset the loss of all those old lots. Which is great news if you're trying to catch a Falcons game without having to Uber from the suburbs. The city's goal is to nudge more people onto MARTA. But let's be real. Getting suburban Atlantans to fully embrace public transit is like asking your cat to take a bubble bath. It's not gonna happen overnight. So what's the verdict? Honestly, it's complicated. Centennial Yards could be the catalyst Atlanta needs to finally bring its downtown into the 21st century. It could attract more residents, businesses, and events, and reshape the city's image on a national and even global scale. And with the 2026 World Cup looming, the timing couldn't be more strategic. But at the same time, the city is putting a lot of trust and a whole lot of money into private hands, with only vague promises of long-term payoffs. And when the city's most vulnerable residents are struggling to find affordable places to live, it's hard not to question those priorities. So here's where I'll leave you. Is Centennial Yards the bold, visionary move Atlanta needs? Or just another flashy facelift that forgets the people it's supposed to serve? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Do you think this is a smart use of public funds? Or is Atlanta setting itself up for disappointment? And if you're from the area, how do you think this will actually impact daily life downtown? If you found this breakdown helpful, go ahead and give it a like. It helps more than you know. Hit that subscribe button for more deep dives into urban developments, infrastructure, and the projects shaping the future of American cities. And don't forget to ring that bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.